Hi everyone. Okay, so I watched a movie last night called Jobs, based on the life of Steve Jobs. Now, for anybody who doesn't know who Steve Jobs is, a pity, but I'll help you out. Okay, he was born in 1955, and sadly he passed away in 2011 due to pancreatic cancer. Okay, I looked that up last night. So, and the film is in 2013, and it has an all-star cast. Ashton Kutcher plays Steve Jobs, and Josh Gad plays Steve Wozniacki, who is referred to as Woz. I think because they were both named Steve, so they wouldn't get confused. Okay, so like I said, the film focuses on his life, um, starting in college and going up until he co-founded Apple, and kind of 20 years or so into the future. And they don't really talk about his passing in the movie, but at the end of the movie, they say Stephen Paul Jobs, and they give the years. So, okay. So the film is based in the 70s, starts in 1974, and it focuses on the fact that he had to drop out of college, and a lot of people talk about the fact that a lot of the tech giants didn't graduate college, but he didn't graduate college because he was in college, but he couldn't afford the tuition, so he had to drop out. If it wasn't for a professor letting him sit in on classes, he wouldn't have the education that he had. That's important. Um, okay. So then we find out through the movie that he has a high school girlfriend, finds out she's pregnant, at first denies that the child is his, and ultimately we find out that they've reconciled as much as you can. But at first he does deny paternity. Okay, as far as his career development, he always knew he wanted to do something big, and he was always thinking, imagining, creating, all that. Okay. Um, and they said in the bio for the film that he was interested in a calligraphy course at the college. And calligraphy is just handwriting. So, a stylized handwriting. So, okay. So then he comes up with the concept for a computer, but the first one is not a computer because it's just the board. And the idea was that you hook it up to a TV that you already have, and then through a certain processor, another processor, you get to see all the data of the stuff you're working on, and that becomes the first kind of Apple, but not really a computer yet. Okay, but he does come up with the name Apple, and at first his friend thinks it's a bad idea because he's like, Apple, like the fruit, and he's like, yeah, but the fruit of creation. And then he also says, you have to listen really close. But he says, yeah, okay. If we find a better name, we can change it. But they never do. Okay. So he gets an idea for the Apple II. But they sink a lot of money into it, and it's not going so well. So um, just they don't really back him like they should. And oh, another thing is that he always finds people to back in financially when he needs it. But then it comes out later in the film that they didn't really have faith in him because they said he was too young to know what he was doing. But I would disagree because, yeah. But, yeah. So Dermot Mulroney is in the film as one of the backers. And then there's just a lot of people that help him out. And they feel like he turned his back on them, but he didn't. He said they outgrew the company. So, and even there's a part in the movie where this is kind of in the middle of the movie, or a little bit later than that, where his best friend, Steve Wozniacki, the co-founder of Apple, says, "I think I'm going to leave because I kind of see the end, and I don't think it's going to be a good one for you. So, and I don't want to sit back and watch." So he leaves. So that night, he's in his car driving back home, and he just screams at the top of his lungs because he feels like he's been abandoned by all the people that work for him, and then his best friend too. So like I can just imagine he feels like he had two losses in one day, and huge losses. We're talking about a friend for decades, and all these people who said they had all this faith in you, and they don't, you know. So two major losses in the same day. I would have cried, which they showed again a little bit further in the movie. He goes back to his parents' house, I think, and it's raining real bad, and he comes inside, you know, because I guess his dad lets him in. Oh, and that's another thing I forgot. At the very beginning of the movie, we find out that he's working on his products in his parents' garage in the very beginning. So that's impressive. Okay, so he goes back to the house, and you know, his dad is there, but they don't talk. And Steve is like playing around with something. He's got something in his hands. It's not a toy, but it's like a thing that you can just fidget with. And his dad is there if he needs to talk, but you get the idea that he doesn't want to talk, but you don't know if he's going to break or not, like cry. And then finally he just breaks. Totally cries buckets. And I'm like, whoa, he's actually crying. Because I didn't think he would break like that. But yeah, everybody has their breaking point. So, okay. So after that, they cut to, they speed it up a little bit. And they go into 1995 or 1995. Okay, at this point, he has gotten another venture next, and he's already been married to Lorraine Powell. Um, Jobs, obviously, she hyphenated, but so they show him, and he's really excited about next, and he's trying to get it together and everything. And he says, "I know, I know it doesn't look like it's gonna work out, but I just have faith or whatever." And then they show him in his yard, a nice house, nice yard, and you can tell that he's had kids, other kids, besides Lisa, his daughter, his first daughter, and his wife. You find out that his wife says to him, you know, check on Lisa, see if she wants breakfast. And there's this woman, like college age woman, on the couch. And he says, "Are you getting up today or what?" And she says, "No." And he says, well, you can't sleep your entire winter break. And she says, yeah, I can. And so, from that scene alone, that he has repaired his relationship with his first daughter. Okay, but in the interim, he's now married to his wife, and they have 2 kids from the marriage. And it's 1996 or about, so you don't know that he's going to get sick, because they don't really focus on that. They focus on what he did, like all his inventions and stuff. They focus on that part. And I found out also that he showed the model for the iPod at a convention in 2001. So that was the next future thing. And also, I think that he had the inspiration for the colors of Apple computers, like colored couple years before they actually did it, because a guy that's in the design team had an idea for colors. And it's true, because I looked up computers about a month ago or something, and Apple does have computers in color now. So it's just nice to see that, his legacy and everything still lives on. And I've watched this movie twice, maybe 5 years apart. First time I watched it, I was intrigued because I thought he was a genius, and I thought, oh wow, how can you imagine things that people don't even know yet? Now that I'm kind of a creator, I see the genius in a different way, of like, wow, okay, he never gave up, like, ever. Even when it was really bad, he never gave up. That's impressive. So, all right. Bye, guys.